is going on, my dummies, and welcome back to another Digimon Deck Tech. In today's episode, we are looking over the big and awful yellow, as some people would like to call it. I'm going to be one of the people to say that yellow, yes, they do not have enough support to be one of the best decks, but I know a lot of people still want to play yellow, so I put together a deck that was focused around recovery if possible. I did one around minus DP as well. If you would like to see that video, leave a like and comment and let me know so I can get that video out to you guys as soon as possible. The better the support, the more decks you guys get a week. Just say it. But alright guys, so this deck uses Kyupimon. Kyupimon on attack, 5 or more security, draw a card. That gives us our card advantage that we need, and it doesn't matter how many cards are in our hand, we're going to keep drawing. Every time we attack and have extra security, we're going to keep drawing it up. The backup is going to be Kyaromon. There it goes. If we have 6 security, the Digimon gets plus 2k. It's pretty good because yellow doesn't really have the thickest of DPs. However, if you wanted to take it completely out, that is completely fine. I'm more prone to using a 4 Digi-tama than having the 1 rando. Unless I'm playing something like red and have Digimon. Like Digimon, I always want Digimon. I never want anything else, so why would I play something else, you know? So if it's what you really, really want, and I'm going to keep saying this in every single video, if it's what you really, really want, don't do the 4-1 split for your 5, do just 4. Until like more Digi-tama start coming out that transcend the ones that we already have, and then the ones that we already have can be your backup. But until then, like, don't start stacking them, because like, especially if you need them, more or less. Alright, so that's our Digi-tamas. Next up, we have Tsukaimon. Tsukaimon is our vanilla. It's 3000 DP, 2 to cost, to play, 0 evolve. Just your basic. I enjoy this card a lot. The next one is Patamon. I should have done this in Salamon differently, but it's fine. The Patamon, whenever something is destroyed by DP, we get plus 1 memory once per turn. Now, there's not a lot of cards in this deck to actually minus DP. I think we have like 6 in total. We're not playing this so we can have that ability. We're playing this so we can have an ability just in case it activates, kind of thing. I mean, of course, if you didn't like this one, you could use Labromon. Labromon it has the same exact stats as Patamon, only instead of plus 1 memory, you draw a card every time something dies. But since it's not Shine Greymon and we're not able to pinpoint hit a bunch of stuff and kill it, Labromon's normally only drawing us 1 card, and I feel like the extra memory will go a long way with Patamon, since this deck tries to rely on the cheapest, efficient options that are out for set 1. So I enjoy this Patamon, and if I was going to have ability, it would be this one. The next one that you can think about running, I think, is Gatomon is his name. It's whenever he attacks, if you have 4 or less cards in your hand, you draw a card. That's the only other one I could think of. Or the Patamon that gets you a Tamer off the top 4. That one will be fine. I just want to keep the cost to a minimum if possible. Next, we have the other vanilla Salamon. We want to be able to play things as cheap and as efficiently as possible. Because we don't have champions that actually cost 1 in this deck, and that feels awful. So because we don't have any champions that cost 1, we're going to have to play as many vanillas as possible in the late and in the early games. So like Salamon and Tsukaimon. Next up, we have the promo Gatomon. This comes in the promo booster with all of the Tamer's Digimon included. The reason this is in here is for the 1000 DP, because we're always going to have 3 or more security. If we don't have 3 or more security, we're in a losing situation. So this is in here for that, and it's also in here for another reason that I will get to later, for another level 6 that we're playing in the deck. That will allow us to do mega trades late game. And like, it does so much work when you're playing against stuff like blockers or Lilithmon. It's just like, if your opponent gets this stable board out, we have ways to deal with it, and it's so great. I'll go over it with you guys. Next, we have our Unimon. Unimon is our natural blocker. When attack, -2 memory. Just your standard blocker for every color. This is him for us in yellow. That's all that is. Going on down, the next card we're playing is Angemon from the starter deck. This Angemon, security, if your security is 4 or more on attack, we get +1 memory. So, like, we're going to try to recover as much as possible and try to keep our memory as high as possible. So, like, that's where this memory comes in. The memory, like I said, this is where our efficiency comes in because we don't have the champions or the level 4s that cost 1. So, this is where we get our memory back. Of course, like, this isn't once per turn. And I want to point something out because it's, like, as of recording this video, I already know there's a few cards in set 4 coming out in Japan. This Angemon with the yellow War Greymon in set 4 is insane. I want to go ahead and get that out of the way so you guys can be prepared. Hold on to the Angemons. He's about to get real good. Next up on the list, we have Angewomon. Angewomon, whenever you Digivolve her, if you're at 3 or less security, you recover 1. So we're able to go... like one thing we're able to do is we're able to go turn 1, flip over Digi-tama, Salamon into Angemon. Our opponent has 2 memory. If they give us enough memory, we can go Angewomon on top of the Angemon and swing to get our +1 memory so that we don't give them as much memory when we go into our Mega Digimon. And then we could go into Seraphimon and then we're already back up at 5. So our opponent can't out-aggro us because we'll punish them. Next up, we have Sirenmon. Sirenmon. She is our vanilla cheap ultimate or level 5. That's all she's here for. So I guess that's all I got for her. Next up, we have MagnaAngemon. MagnaAngemon serves 2 really great purposes in this deck. The first big purpose that he serves is we can hard play him to recover 1 because we don't have the option card that allows us to just recover and to recover on security effect. We don't have that card in set 1. I skimmed over it and skimmed over it and skimmed over it. I never seen it. So unless I'm missing something, you leave a dislike if I missed it, because I'm 95% sure it's not there. But that's one reason I'm playing this MagnaAngemon, on top of which it allows our level 6s to actually get to a good point to where we're not losing to our opponent's security checks. So that's why I have him in here, because sometimes we're able to get to that extra 2,000 power, and it always feels good to do so. Next up, the level 6s I'm just doing in a random order because that's how they fit. Magnadramon or Magnadramon, holy crap, from the starter deck. This is just, like I said, cheap option, and it's able to get, like, if we have the memory, we're able to swing without any kind of repercussions, just to get our memory up from the Angemon, so we can get up to a level 6 and be able to swing at our opponent's stuff if we have to, things like that. The next level 6 that we are playing is Seraphimon. Now, Seraphimon is the main core and focus of this deck. When we Digivolve him, we just recover 1, right? And whenever we attack with him, or during our turn, for every 3 or if we have 3 or more security, he gains security attack +1. So we want to try to keep our gauge at 3 or higher at all times, so we can always get that security attack +1 every time, because it's going to hurt so bad, and this is the only way we can close out a game, because our other cards aren't doing it. It's the other cards in the deck are meant to manipulate how much recovery we have and to gain abilities on the recovery. Another thing to note about Seraphimon that I don't like, and this is one of the downsides to playing yellow. I'm not, like, again, I'm saying yellow is not the best deck out there, okay? It's going to be a hard hard workout just to get a win with this deck. But if you get the ins and outs of this deck, and you get your opponent irritated at the fact that you're just recovery, like, it's going to make things difficult for your opponent. And if you can out-survive by giving yourself more security than your opponent is able to deal, and you're able to deal more security faster, you win. Like, there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. So, like, I know it's not Shine Greymon, right? I know it's not Shine Greymon, and trust me, I'm one of those few people that still are very upset that he's not in set 1 since he's on the box art. But I'm trying to give people that like yellow an out or a deck to play, you know? But yeah, his power is very tiny. That's one thing I was saying. Even though his power is very tiny, he's more than likely done what he needed to do after he swung at the security attack if he dies to the security Digimon or Nova Force, but everything dies to Nova Force and Psychosis Breath. The last level 6 we're playing in this deck is the other Magnadramon. She is hardly ever going to be our Digivolution source. We're never going to use her for Digivolution. We're always going to use her for her when played ability. We're going to play her when we're starting to get so little security that we're going to lose if we don't do something about it. So with that being said, we're playing her to get the recovery +2 if we're at 3 or less security. So we could go up to 5 just by playing her and looking at our opponent if we're at a good position and be like, what you going to do? Right? On top of which, her when attacking ability is actually really, really good. And I think it's underrated for yellow decks to not play her. Because I don't see a lot of people playing like 4, or not 4, but 2 or 3 of her in a deck in yellow. If you do happen to have to Digivolve into her, right, it feels bad, but if you have to, when she swings, you get to put a level 3 yellow Digimon from your hand into play. So that means, like, it gives you 2 to 3 extra memory just by swinging. And then from that, like I said, we're trying to do things as cheaply as possible because we don't have the vanillas we need for this deck. So we could just play, I don't know, the Patamon, right? We'll get the Patamon out and then we go evolve into Angemon because it was free. If we still have memory, then we go into Angewomon. It's just, like I said, try to be as efficient as you can with your memory. Try to be extremely stingy with it and don't try to give your opponent more than they deserve. Try to keep them in that balance to where they have to pass the turn to you to be able to do what they want to do. And, like, in order to do that, we have to cheat the system and play things for free, or like have to play more in our rookies where we wouldn't have effects anyway, so why don't we just play stuff for cheap? Alright, moving on, we have our only option card we are playing in the deck, Strike of 7 stars, minus 10,000 DP to a unit. On the security check, activate that ability. It's not the greatest. I know it's not a Nova Force or Psychosis Breath. I really hate that it doesn't give minus 12. Minus 12 would be so much better. However, this still kills every level 5 in the game and below. And that is one thing that I really do like about it, because if it gets turned over, we can choose anything. So we can stop them from getting to their level 6 early game if we have to. It can set them back. However, like, we don't want to give them 7 memory. So we're hoping this gets checked, right? And, like, we play TKs, and the TKs are there. And I'll get to the TKs, but, like, we're just trying to make sure that we can keep our opponent in check if we have to. Moving on, we have the starter deck TK as a 2 of. We only need 1 on the field to be able to get to our 3 memory, and that's why he's being played, just for the 3 memory part. If I didn't have to play him, I wouldn't play him. However, his ability on place, you check all your security cards, and you choose a card from among them, put them back, or shuffle them, put them back, and then you recovery 1. So this is a good way to, like, if you have him in opening hand, this is a good way to see what cards you aren't going to be able to get your hands on. and be able to grab one of those cards early to fix yourself if you have to. Like, let's say you don't have any champions or level 4s, you go TK, oh, there's 3 level 4s here, let me grab one. So, like, the TK, it's good for, like, early game, it's good for late game to see what's left. It's just a good card in general. Last up, we're playing the TK from the starter deck as a 4 of. This card is being played in this deck because of how aggressive things like Rookie Rush, etc. are. We don't want them to get too far out of hand. Or, like, we don't want decks to be too aggressive toward us. So the TK allows the decks to slow down. Because if they're swinging at us constantly, our rookies end up becoming big enough to start killing champions. Or our level 3s are able to destroy level 4s. Our level 4s are able to destroy level 5s. And, like, when you start stacking these things, our level 3s will end up being level 5s and 6s. So, the TK is a good card just to have. But that's it. That is the deck, guys. Some things I want to know about, note about the deck, right? Some things you can do is you can play Magnadramon. And one of the things I wanted to say about the Gatomon is Seraphim's power is low, so the Gatomon's able to get you that extra 1,000. It's not much. One thing you can change in this deck, and I would recommend it only if you're comfortable after playing this version of the deck, or if you're just like, I don't care about it. The starter deck vanilla Magnadramon. Toss it, right? Don't play it. Play Kyaromon over it. Kyaromon has a skill that says when you Digivolve into him, up to 5 of your opponent's Digimon get minus security attack 2. So basically, if everything has security attack 1, they're not doing anything. If they're able to give plus a security attack, they're still not doing anything. It slows down your opponent for at least 1 turn, which is really good. And he's an 11k body. So, with the Gatomon, he becomes 12k, which takes out any vanilla in the game, but also a lot of level 6s, minus a few, you know. But Kyaromon allows you to, whenever you swing at a, or not swing, whenever it's destroyed. So, Gaia Force, or somebody attacking into it, or an ability, like Omnimon, for example, you can give minus 11,000 power to something. And that's where the Patamon would come in if we ended up doing it. Like I said, we don't have a lot of those. But it's really good to have something like a Gatomon up under it, so you can go, and the Magnamon. Like, let's say you have a Gatomon and a Magnamon under the Kyaromon, you're liable to be at 13 or, well, no. You'll be at, 13 or 14k power. So let's say they do end up having a War Greymon on the battlefield that's a 13k body. If you're able to get to that 13, you can crash into it and destroy it so your opponent can't go Omnimon the next turn. And then the minus 11,000 will trigger, so you can trigger and kill something else that's on their side of the field. So that's just a cool little combo, little tidbit. But that's how I built the deck. If you want to play Kyaromon, my recommendation is to start taking the Magnadramons out from the starter deck. And if you seem to not like the set 2 Magnadramon, start taking those out as well. But that's it. Leave a like, comment. Don't forget to subscribe. Let me know how you like this video. If you want to see the other video, let me know, and I will get it out as quickly as possible. But in the meantime, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.